How do the Warriors, we'll make a case for both sides here, but how do the Warriors win tonight's game 4 and even up this series?
The way the Warriors win is if they get back to the championship level defense that they played in game 2. The Warriors had 33 points off of turnovers in game 2, and they're one of the best offenses at, getting that spark from their defense and turning it into fast break points, because we've seen it. They get a steal and then they go on the other side and Steph Curry hits a pull-up three, and that's an absolute dagger because it's a swing of 5 points if you would have scored on that possession. So I think if the Warriors get back to that level of defense, it kind of frustrate the Celtics, because the Celtics have shown some signs of weakness in the second half. Generally, they've been really good in the first half, but kind of struggled to keep up that intensity throughout the third quarter. So if the Warriors kind of put their, foot on the throats of the Celtics in the third quarter and play that good defense, that's a way to beat them. And also, if the Warriors can hit their threes. They came out pretty cold in the first half of last game. And some of it maybe had to do with the rims being 2 inches too high in warm-ups, kind of upset their rhythm. So maybe if that doesn't happen in this game, the Warriors can actually come out swinging and hitting some of those threes. So there is a route for the Warriors to win this game, but I don't know. I think until they get a rim protector, it's still the Celtics for me.
Yeah, Steph, first of all, has to get some sort of help. Someone has to step up because no one has done it. Yak play was all right in the last game. Draymond Green has been a non-factor. I think the Celtics are in his head. He wants to be in their heads, and he's not. He's the one complaining now about the crowd. The ultimate agitator is agitated himself. Where's Otto Porter been? Where's Jordan Poole been? Where's Andrew Wiggins been? It is Steph and the Stephettes. Just a bunch of other guys sort of randomly contributing, but not really having a significant impact. So if the Warriors are going to win, someone has to step up. And I know Klay Thompson had, 25 in the last game, but he was really inefficient from the field. So just because you score 25 points doesn't necessarily mean you're contributing in a meaningful way. These are not the Splash Brothers that they used to be. Someone needs to step up, and Draymond Green has to contribute. Being an agitator is just fine. Being a great defender is just fine. But if you're not contributing, if you're just picking up technical fouls and playing trash basketball, which is what he's doing right now, you're not helping, you're hurting your team. This is what happens when you're focusing so much on getting in the other team's head and not focusing on your own game. He has lost touch with what makes him a great player, which is getting tough rebounds, playing good defense, dishing out the ball when he needs to, when other guys are open and they collapse on him, instead of just being a guy out there being a negative for his team. So he's got to show up as well. The Warriors have that championship experience. I don't think it's going to be enough in this series. I think Boston is going to win the NBA title, but certainly the Warriors have that record in the past, and having been in this situation before, if there's any team that can step up, it's probably them.
Also, the trends would point to the Warriors here, because the Warriors have not lost back-to-back games in the postseason thus far, and that's kind of been the trend that's been the case for both the Warriors and the Celtics. They are usually good at bouncing back. So in the spot, the Warriors have been good. And also looking at the Celtics, they haven't been great at covering the number after a win, just 7-7 straight up and against the spread in playoffs after a win. So do we expect the Celtics to be better in this spot? I think for me, it's really a test of backing the trends or backing what you see when you watch these games. Because for me, it looks like the Warriors don't have an answer to the Celtics. And the Celtics actually have a rim protector in Robert Williams. But the Celtics are getting easy buckets as the layup line when it comes to points in the paint. The Celtics had almost double the points in the paint of the Warriors last game. And those are high percentage shots. So I think if you're banking on a team to win, you pick the team that has the higher percentage shots that it come the easiest. And for me, it's still the Celtics. So the eye test is telling me the Celtics.
I think you're absolutely right. And I think the formula for the Celtics is pretty simple, which is number one, keep taking advantage of the fact that you're bigger and more physical. The Warriors have not come up with a solution yet on how to match the Celtics' size. They're just not as physical. And when they put someone like Kevon Looney in the game to maybe be a big and sort of compensate for that lack of size, then they lose a scoring punch and they have to go bigger. And the Warriors are actually better when they go with their death lineup and Draymond's at the 5 and they're smaller and they can run up and down the court. The Celtics have not allowed them to do that. So keep playing bully ball if you're Boston. Keep being physical. Keep intimidating the Warriors. And then secondly, they're just going to say, Steph, do your thing. We'll see if someone else steps up. And I think it's a great strategy because no one else has. As we've seen, Steph can drop 30 points a game, but it doesn't matter because no one else on that team has been a secondary scorer or contributor in a meaningful way. And also, I think it needs to be pointed out, Chelsea, the Celtics are in the Warriors' heads. All of the Warriors, to a man, were complaining about the Celtics crowd. Now, I don't believe in yelling "F you, Draymond." That's classless to me. And I understand you can have a raucous atmosphere and it's intimidating. You can do that without going to that level. So I'll never get behind that. But the fact of the matter is, to a man, Steve Kerr, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, they were all complaining about the crowd. That crowd is in their heads. And I thought it was interesting to hear Draymond complain. And I understand his family was there. But when you're an agitator and you're agitated, the script has flipped on him.
But I think another thing that is probably going to be big, what's the status of Steph Curry? Because you remember he kind of got rolled up on his ankle last game. Maybe he's not 100%. He is playing, and they've said that he's going to be fine, but is he going to be 100%? Is he going to be able to run around? Because that's the thing. Steph Curry is so great because he's constantly moving and he's bouncing off those screens, and that's how he makes his living, is bouncing off those screens and making those threes. So I'm wondering, Steph Curry, who is the most important player on the floor to the Warriors, is he going to be 100%?
I don't know. That's another reason why I like the Celtics. It's just interesting, Chelsea, that every single angle I look at points to Boston, except for the one where Golden State is undefeated after a loss in this postseason. But I think this is different because of the Celtics. They just have not played a team this good in Boston, and I think Boston wins tonight.